It's 22:30 hours. That's 10:30 p.m. Tuesday, August 24th, 2021. Word green in the studio here. And I want to talk about something a little bit unusual or different. It's difficult for many people. But I want to introduce people to it, especially young people who've never seen it before. And it's just a little bit of coding, programming. Very, I mean, it's simple in a way, but computer coding is always, much more difficult than point and click. It always requires attention to detail, and it's finicky. If you get one thing wrong, it all fails. So it's the kind of thing that most people get frustrated with, and they become convinced it doesn't work, and myself included. It happens many times that I give up on something dozens of times. I keep coming back and say, well, wait a minute, that didn't work, but I think if I try to just change one more thing, maybe it'll work. And then when you've programmed for when you've written your own code, for example, I didn't write this code, somebody else wrote it, but I still had trouble getting it to run. But when you write your own code, I had to modify it. Well, when you write your own code and you write a program and it runs the first time you try it, and that's only ever happened to me in very recent times, because all my life I've written programs and I've failed to eliminate all the issues before trying to run it for the first time, and it always fails the first time you run it. And that, I think, is typical of I'm not sure, but I would assume most programmers are like that. We know the best programmers can write code that runs the first time. Like, I think I heard stories about Mr. Wozniak at Apple, for example. But I mean, surely everybody experiences this at some time, very frequently in their career. I've got my new. The reason why this is my new keyboard. The reason why I wanted to make this little piece of code was because this keyboard comes with one command key, or a Windows key, but I'm using, since I'm using the Mac, the M1 Mac Mini. I'm wishing to use well, first of all, the Windows key becomes a command key in Mac OS, and I don't care about what order these keys are. That can be changed also. A person can make each of these keys do whatever they want using this little bit of code that I'm showing you now. But it just takes more repetitions of the command, to switch the keys. To switch the function, you say this key, source key, and then what's the destination of that key. In other words, currently it has a certain code, which is a number, and then what is the destination code? In other words, another number, which will represent a different function. So, and this number happens to be the hexadecimal number E7, the command key. No, sorry, that's the right hand. The right hand command key is called E7. I'm not sure what the left one is, because I'm not changing that one. I'm going to leave that one the same. But this one over here, you see, there's no right hand command key on this Windows keyboard. It only has the menu key, which was not doing what I wanted it to do, which was, well, it doesn't do anything in Mac OS. But I wanted to be able to use one hand to hold the command key and also press the plus key. And in order to do that, I have to span my left hand all the way across. And sometimes I wouldn't be able to do it correctly. I'd hit the two keys at once. This is one of the most important things I found after buying this keyboard. One of the most important problems I had was I suddenly realized I have to use 2 arms. Lifting 2 arms takes far more energy than 1 arm. Double, obviously. But to have to lift 2 arms in order to make the one of the most common needs in a computer interface is to make the window smaller or the text smaller or bigger. Mainly bigger. You want to make it bigger so you can read it. But then you want to make it smaller if it's too big. And the shortcut for that is Command plus and Command minus. And the plus key is the same as the equals key, except depends whether you're pressing the shift key or not. But in this case, there's no need for a shift key. It's simply going to be menu in this case instead of command. Menu plus or menu minus. You hold the menu with your thumb and your other finger. Your thumb is doing the one part. Your thumb is holding that key, and then your third finger, in my case, is doing the plus and minus while you're holding that key. So the point is, that key wasn't doing anything, so I had to use two hands to do. I had to hold the left command key, and then the left, and then the right, plus with my right hand, plus or minus. So that was not satisfactory. It took way too much energy. I need to be able to reach up wherever my keyboard is and just use one hand and just do this with my left hand. Be able to just size the window the way I want it. So this is one of the changes I've made since I got. I'll think of other ones. I mean, I've done some other things, but this is the only customization I think I've done so far on the Mac, the M1 Mac Mini. Brand new computer for me. I'm trying to record. I think I'm recording the screen, hopefully. So if I'm not recording the screen, this won't even work. But anyway, I'm trying to record the screen for the first time also on this computer. I've done that before. Now I'm going to show you what we need to do. There's a file that I created, and to edit it, you go, first of all, it's located in a directory called, you might see it there on the screen, up about 15 lines up from the bottom. There's the beginning of some text, and it says CD, meaning change directory. CD space tilde /library /LaunchAgents. That's the directory. LaunchAgents is the directory that we're going to be using to create this file. This file is, and the file is called com.ldos.rcommand-key for menu.plist. That's the bottom line here, and the bottom few lines, because I've opened this file several times. Now I'm opening it now, and it was empty to start with. You could create a file. You start up by just saying Nano, enter, and that will create an empty file. So I mean, I could do that. I could say, let's find where my Nano was, or I could just type Nano. If I go back far enough, there's Nano. So the command at the bottom says Nano. If I hit enter, it opens an empty file. Okay, so that's what I started with. But first of all, I made sure I was in the LaunchAgents directory of the library directory of the user directory. So once you're in the right directory in macOS, this is how we do this particular thing. Everything you do is different to do with, different projects that you're working on. In this case, this is the location we want. And it's because this directory, LaunchAgents, is where the commands will be located that will be launched when we boot the system. So every time we boot, this key will be remapped so it does not fail to work in the way that I want it to. Every time I reboot, it will work the way I want it to. So it has to be in the LaunchAgents directory. Okay? So, I mean, that sounds very logical. It's got to be launched, so it's in that LaunchAgents directory. Now, we don't want to type all of it, of what we want in the file by hand, so somebody's already created something in the browser, and this is the file that they used. This is exactly the file they used. It has these statements at the beginning, some of which are simply comments, where there's an exclamation and 2 dashes, for example. That's just a comment. But then we get things like plist version. That's important. And then the dictation, or whatever that stands for, something like that. And then the key label. And then the label of the name of the file, which was in his case, com.ldos.caps lock escape, which is not my name because I didn't want to escape the cap locks. So I just gave it a different name. And the first few times I tried this, I failed, and I think it was because my name was too long. The name I was using was too long for that. I'm not sure if that was why, but I tried various different things to fix it. And when it did work, I was using the shorter file name, so that it doesn't. I don't need to know everything as to why it worked, because I've never done this before. I'll have time to research or find out why these things work the way they do later. But the first time I tried it, I actually used his parameters, and I don't think that was the reason why it failed the first time, because the first time it worked, but I was doing the cap locks exchange that he did to make the cap locks equal to a backspace button and so on, and it worked. I didn't even change it to do what I wanted at that point. I just tried it, and then I rebooted, and it actually worked, so that my cap locks was a backspace button, or my backspace button became a delete button. It was different from before. I noticed that, and that was what his purpose was, and I had more or less, like a programmer, I'd forgotten to change the commands. So I'd used everything he did. I'd given it my names, but forgotten to change the commands. So it worked. But then later, when I tried to change his commands into my commands, I kept getting it wrong somehow. But let's look at, okay, it goes user key mapping, and then it has the same. We'll look, and then it goes. We'll look at that in the file, and then it goes run at load. The array ends. The array tag has an ending. That's that / array means the end of the array, and then run at load. So every time it loads, it's going to run this. And true / I have no idea what that's for. And then it says dict. There's no other true tag anywhere. My voice is funny. And then it says end of plist, and that's the end of the file. So let's look at the file here. We're in Nano now on the screen. So I'm going to say Control X, that exits. That's how you exit Nano. Let's go back to Nano and then the name of the file. This is the file I created. I copied what he did. I just selected it with my mouse. I dragged like this with my mouse. I just dragged down whatever it was. I just continued to go down. I just kept, perhaps I had smaller. I think I had a smaller text size at the time, because I used my program to make it big. Let's try making it small right now. Yeah, that's what I mean by making smaller. You see, I can make, with just my one hand, I can make it smaller, and then I can make it bigger. So that's what I copied, was that piece of code. Okay, now I pasted it in here using Command V. I pasted after Command C to copy it. I went to the terminal window. I clicked on the focusing the terminal window. Then I went here in the Nano empty file, an empty Nano file. I pasted it in, and then I had to modify the string where it says user key mapping, that long line, that single. I had to modify that. I had to change the numbers so that it said 65 at the end of the first long number, string of numbers, and then the second long string I had to say E7, which is the right command key. So 65 was the code representing the menu key, and that was, somebody put me onto a clever way to determine how to determine if that is really the menu key. And that the first time you try it, you can do this. I'll show you this. Let's exit Nano for a second. Okay, so we exit Nano, Control X. And if we come up, if I go up arrow, it stores all my previous commands. I use this command, launch control load. If you use that command when you're in the LaunchAgents directory, that will run this plist file, and it will perform it. And if it doesn't run, an error comes up. if something goes wrong. So you can test it before you reboot also. But it works now. I don't need to run that, but I know it works. But I don't want to run it right now. But well, I can. Let's run it. It's not going to change anything. Let's run it. That's what happened. Oh, look, it's an input error. That's strange. That's what I got last time. Maybe it's because it's already been changed. That's fascinating. So that input-output error doesn't mean anything in the context of rebooting. I just realized that. So I just learned something more. Anyway, because I know it works. I've rebooted before using this command, using the same, I mean, that's the same name. R command key for menu. That's what I named it. At least I'm fairly confident that's the right name. Anyway, it has to be. In my mind, it has to be. So let's see. Let's go back to something even. Let's go back to something else. Yes, right here. Here it is. There's hutil. Okay. Yeah, it says hutil property -- get, and then user key mapping in quotes. If I press enter, it gives me the key mapping. That's what the key mapping is now. So the key that ends in 303 is mapped into the key that ends in 173. I have no idea why those numbers are there, but I know that that represents this key mapping that we've done from 65 in hexadecimal into E7 in hexadecimal. That is the 65, which is the menu key, has been mapped into the E7, which is the right command. It functions just like a right command key. And it looks fairly much like a Windows key too. You know it's Windows key, so it's very easy to make this switch. Now the next thing, I want to do this quickly, if we can. I don't want to get bogged down. But if I go back far enough here, there was the original command I used. I used this HIDUTIL property set, which is with the spaces just as shown, with a -- set. But when I ran that, it's also in the Nano file. It's just broken up into different lines, so that each of the parts of this command are written on different lines in the string tags. But the same command is located exactly like this in the Nano, in the text file, which we edited with Nano. So if we look at this, we're mapping 65 again. If you look at the number there, the long number on the right, and then we go further and around to the bottom left, we see it's mapped to E7. So this is the right command. Let's try it and see if it runs. Let's press enter. It runs, and it maps the same thing. So it didn't change the mapping because we'd already done that mapping. But let's try something else. Let's map it to, let's change that mapping. Instead of E7, let's change it to, let's change it to 07. So I'll go backspace. If I go to the 7, backspace, and then put 7, press enter. Now our mapping is this. See this? It says 079 and 173. So we've mapped a different number to the right command key. But we don't want that, so let's go back again and fix it. So let's make it E7 again. Backspace is the only way to delete things in the terminal, the only way I know of anyway. So you have to be there and then backspace. So we have E7, press again. We're back to 303 and 173, so we know that we're back to the same thing. But also, the other thing is, let's go back again to the 07 one and press enter to that. Now we know we have a mapping which is not the same. Now if I try my enlarge, it doesn't work. If I try to enlarge my text and make it smaller, it's not working now. Whereas if I go back here and I just change it to E7 again, and I get the 303, 173. Now if I try the mapping, it should work, but it doesn't. Yes, it does. It was already at maximum size, that's why. It does work, see that? There we go. So our mapping works, but let's go back to the 079 again just to prove it. We're at 079 and 173. So if I try to make it smaller, it doesn't work. Bigger doesn't work. Smaller doesn't work. So neither of them works, whereas if I go back to the E7 mapping, we could see it will work. So it's a beautiful feature to have, be able to do that with one hand. It's so much quicker than having to use two hands. Absolutely essential in my opinion, which I think is the truth, certainly for this application. I can't see any other way to look at it. So let's now reboot. Well, we don't even have to reboot because I know it works, but we should. I'm going to reboot to prove that this works. So we do restart. No, I can't do that because I'd be showing you that. No, I wouldn't show you the password. That's right. You won't see the password. Do I want to quit? Oh, wait a minute. Let's quit. What are we running? What does it mean? Oh, the screen. I can't quit because I don't want to lose the. No. I have a screen recording, so I got to save the screen recording. So let's stop. So that's really that's all there is to it. But before, okay, just believe me, it does work when you reboot. I think we'll just have to leave it at that. But I do want to go back and show you something interesting. What happens in the Nano file? All of the Nano file, we had to copy it exactly and make sure that it was exactly the way it was done by the other person who had been given a check mark and he had received or he was given some very good ratings anyway, some pluses by people. It wasn't a check mark, it was some pluses. People said +1 because that was the right way to do it, the modern and right way to remap keys on Mac OS. So I mean, all you need to do, you can sometimes write your own code if you know the language, but I didn't know the language, so all I did was modify the names of this variable called the RC command key for menu.plist, that file name, or that it's a file name. It's called com.ldos.rcommand key for menu.plist, and I also altered the name of the variable the label called in the string tags. It's called com.ldos.rcmd add. In other words, rcommand add. And other than those two renamings, I just copied everything. Well, no, I also had to change the numbers for the user key mapping. But other than those, those are just the two numbers. 65 I had to put in. And as I told you already, the 65 means the Windows menu key, which is right here on this keyboard. And it's now been translated into E7, which is the right command. So the mapping has been remapped using this statement, and at load it says run at load. So every time I load it, it will run. So let's stop now. We're done with this screen recording. Now we need to save it. Let's see if it runs. Does it run? I think so. I should have been moving my mouse, I realize now, because I wanted to show, I was moving my mouse sometimes, but in the future I can move my mouse and demonstrate more clearly what I'm talking about by moving the mouse on the screen. Anyway, it's all good. It worked. So let's save this. Very importantly, we'll save it as and we'll put it at where will I put it? I'm not going to save it on my Mac drive. I'm going to save it on my external drive. So there it is. It's going to be saved. We're going to make a new folder. We're going to give it today's date. What is it called? We're going to give it photos. I think it's 137. What was the last one? Let's find out. I need to find out what the number is. Yep, it's 137 this time. So 137 and the date. It's the 24th, 22. Oh yeah, we don't need anything more than that, do we? The date and the 2021. Well, I might as well give the time because there won't be a time on it. 22, 55, 56 hours, right? And it's remap key. It's a key remap. Right command. create. That's the folder, right? Now we want to save it in that folder. So now we look at this. See how long it takes us to do it. Saving it right now. It's pretty fast. There it is, done. So we now have done it. It's 728 megabytes. It's fair size. And we're not recording the screen anymore, but I want to reboot first. I can't show you the reboot, so I'm just going to try the reboot myself. Make sure that it really works like I think it does. So here we go. Terminate running processes. I'm still running Nano. Let's terminate this. Good. And then try again. It's restarting. Okay. So this was a very exciting thing for me because it's the first programming I've done on the M1. That's the reason. No other reason than that. It's just a little tiny bit of programming. But it was not easy because I had quite serious problems getting it to work, which sometimes that happens because I was in a hurry because I wanted to get supper. I couldn't wait to get my supper. I'd been fasting for 20 some hours, more than 20 hours. Here we go. Okay. Typing the password, you can't see that, but that's good. That's good. So here we are back, and now it's time to test this. Well, what are we running? Oh, there it is. Yeah, let's close that screen recording. Here we have stack. Let's see if it works. Now let's start the screen recording first so you can see it too. So we're back. Slow down. Where's the screen recording? Here it is. QuickTime Player. New screen recording. There we are. Yes. Okay. We're there. Good. I guess I don't need terminal anymore. It doesn't matter. Let's click on it. It's going to start recording, hopefully. Oh, wait. Why does it not start? Oh, how did I start last time? I don't know how I did it because now it's not starting. Oh, I know. I pressed enter. Okay. I remember. That's it. So I press enter. There, it's starting to record. Now I'm able to go to my application and I'll try the very keys that are supposed to be the Windows key, the Windows menu key, which is this one, and the plus key. It made it smaller. No, what happened? It made something smaller. Oh, it made it bigger, maybe. Let's see. Something was miniaturized. Yeah, the text probably got bigger, but it was looking at a different part of the screen. Here we are. So, okay, so it must have got bigger, I think. We're going to still, yeah, it's getting bigger. And then if I go Command minus, it goes smaller. It's exactly the way I want it to work. So I can reboot, and the other thing you need to do that's very important to remember is when you're in your terminal. Now, if I want to go back, if I want to look at that file, I could go in the terminal, but I'd have to go then to the directory. In the directory, into the directory in which it's found, which is the something. What is it? Something to do with LaunchAgents. What was it? There it is. Library. Yes, the user directory /library/LaunchAgents. But I can do that using, I'm still recording the screen. Let's do that using Finder. So we go into I saved it under Launch. I created a directory on my external drive called Launch. My external drive is called SP1, which is, I forget what that stands for. SP. It's 1 terabyte. That's what it is. It's an NVMe drive, and it's portable. And what is it? Well, it's a secret. I don't know what it is. I'll remember what it is, but it's not a manufacturer name. It stands for I don't think it's a manufacturer, is it? No. Yes, it is. It's the manufacturer of the NVMe drive. Okay, that's what it is. Yes, it is. Okay, correction. Okay, so, forgive me. In Jesus' name, Father. And then it says here, look, plist, launch. See, there's my plist file. I stored it in my launch directory on the you could call it the spit drive, but I mean, that's just a short form. It's the NVMe drive, the external drive. That's where I saved this file, the plist file. And it's got the same name that I just copied it. I just went Command C or just dragged it and dropped it or whatever it was. I guess Command C from its original location. Then I Command V, pasted it to this location. Its original location was here, Macintosh, user directory, which is here, my name, and then library, and then LaunchAgents. And I had to create the LaunchAgents. That's an important thing to remember. I had to create this. This LaunchAgents directory did not exist, so I had to create it. I had to say, new folder and create that. And then I created the file using Nano in that folder. I used the Nano program to create the file. And then this file, I just Command C copied it and went back to my portable drive, and I Command V pasted it into that folder. And it was very quick, of course, because it's a small file. Very easy to do but it's important to back it up onto an external drive. That way, if my system ever goes down and I can't access my main drive, I don't lose this file that I worked so hard on. That could be done in a matter of minutes, but it could take sometimes, hours if you're having trouble with some detail of it that's not working for you. So if you just can't see whatever the problem is, these programming tasks can be extremely time intensive, time consuming. That's the problem or that's the challenge, or that's what stops many people from doing programming too, I think. Or it's very discouraging sometimes. It can be, but it's very rewarding when you then finally get the result you were going for, and it saves you time. Like now I don't have to do, every time I boot up, I don't have to go back to my terminal and retype, or I wouldn't have to retype the command, but I'd have to find the command on my list by using the up arrow. I have to go back to that command again, find it, and then press enter, and it would run that. Here it is. Here, this is the one here, right? If I say enter, it won't say error. It just does the command. Anyway, I guess I'll stop this screen recording. I'll save that. I'll save this. So I mean, it works. It works to do it manually too. You don't have to build a file and then put it in the LaunchAgents directory. But if I put it in the LaunchAgents directory, it's just forget it. I could just forget about it, and it runs every time I reboot. So that's the power of programming. So now I've saved it. It's a very powerful thing, and you can do this. This is just one example of what programming can do for you when you empower yourself to learn how to do it. And it's something that is certainly not easy to learn at first, unless you have a lot of these skills that you need already. Of course, you have to have very good skills of observation to pick up every possible error with your eyes. That you could, or some way to compare the original. If you're using someone else's code and re-implementing it, you need to have a way to compare the two versions to detect any difference if you know that original code worked because you tested it. But there's so many different aspects to it, and it's very mentally it's mentally intensive work, which keeps your mind active. That's another good thing about it. So let's save this file again. Okay, here we go. We're going to save it in that same folder. Its folder is 137, right? It's got the time here, 10:58. Let's just, it already has the time. So let's just save it. Okay, good. Oops. Oh, thank goodness. I thought it was going to take a long time. At first, I thought it would take a long time, and it didn't, fortunately. So now I now have two files there. One of them says, one of them the time is it says 29 because we did a lot of things after. Really? Well, that's when we started it, I guess. It's the start time. And this one says 10:58, and now what the time is, yeah, 23:06. So this is a shorter one. So it gives the start time of each of those. Good. Well, that's good. So it's not delayed by the ending time is not delayed by when we save it. That's good. We might have a delay before we save it, but the start time is when the date is given. That's fantastic. So those two are saved, right? Now I can do the other thing. What I can do now is I could import my iPhone file that I just made, which is 35 minutes, onto this computer, right? Maybe I need to get my iPad and run it as a camera so I can record this when I do this, because it's faster than on the other computer. I think it might be good to do it, to record it. I might want to publish this too. So I'll get my iPad. Okay, so the time it's going to take me, I'm booting the iPad. The time that it will take me probably to do this will be short enough that I won't need to have the iPad on the power adapter. It can just sit here. It can just sit and record everything. There's a problem though. I see a problem. How is the iPad going to be able to see what I'm doing? Okay, it needs to be tipped up. It's not going to be able to do that. Okay. I don't know how to do that. How do I do that? That's the question. So one way is to put it maybe over here. This is what I want to try. Let's put this mouse over here. Just if I can lean it up like this, this might work. If it's going to be able to see everything. Can it see everything I'm doing here? Where is it? Where's my hand? Oh, here's my hand. Okay, good. Maybe I can put it like that. That's pretty good. So these are the cables I'm going to be plugging into, and the screen. But you can't see the screen. So I'll move it. I need to put it somewhere. It's going to be a challenge. How will I do this? I need to do this somehow. I don't have a tripod for this. Do I? No, I don't think so. I can put it back here. Maybe. Then I can see the screen, but you won't see it well enough. I can do another screen recording while I do this, I guess. That's what I could do. I'll have to do a screen recording while I do this. But that's complicated. It's a little complicated. Let's see what I can do with... it's complex enough. Let's see. I don't know how to do this. This is not... I don't want it to fall. So what will I put there as a spacer? Will this mouse work as a spacer here? Just sort of keep it? No? Not really, no. I don't think so. I don't know. That's not going to work. Let me try to invent. I got to invent something right now. It's always the challenge. Trying to invent something. There's got to be a way to do it. Okay, I think I have an idea, but whether it works, I don't know. I need to put these headphones away. Okay, they can go. No, they'll be in the way there. They will potentially block our view. So we've got to put these headphones somewhere. I used to keep them back around there. They can go there for now. Behind the iMac. Okay. Now if I put this up on here, this might be a good angle to get this. If I tilt it, it's not bad. What's it showing? No, it doesn't tip far enough to show what I'm trying to show here. It's not going to work. There's got to be a way. I'm sure there's a way to do this. Okay. What do? Well, I'm not started recording it yet. I don't know what to do here. Yeah, I definitely can't upload while I'm filming with the one camera. This camera has to be it. Or I have another camera with a tripod too, which I could use instead of this. Much bigger tripod, but it's not as good. I don't think it's as good a quality camera as this one. But this is not as good a low light camera either as the iPhone. It's an inferior quality for low light. That's just the way it is. But I only want the camera. I don't care about. It's another thing. I don't care about the. See, I don't want this cord to block. Why is that cord going like that? What is that? Well, that's the HDMI cord. But it doesn't have to be like that. I can put it under. Okay, good. Much better. Much better. So if I stood that up like that, how would I keep that from falling over? That's the question. You know, okay. Let's do it like, no, it's just, that's potentially going to damage the screen. I don't want to do that. This screen has no protection. It's just a glass screen. We don't want it to fall. So there, let's see. We're showing, this is this surface. You can't see it. It's very, you're looking edge on, but it's the M1 Mac Mini right here. This is it. And all the, let's get some brighter light on it. Let's get some light on it. So there we go. That should now show it. There it is. That's the front of the Mac Mini right here. It has this white cable that I'm using to keep the iPhone charged. But what I'm going to do now is stop the iPhone. Okay, stop it. I'm just going to start this camera now. And I just stopped the iPhone. So this is me. So, I mean, you won't see me yet. But what I'm going to do is I'm just going to get the, now I want to run on the M1 Mac Mini, I'm running the program called Image Capture, okay? So we run that. Well, do I want to run? I want to run, hang on a second. Okay, let's shut it down and let's start again. Let's start a new screen recording. That's right. One more. Let's record the screen again. This is a screen recording, right? Yeah. Good. So we're going to be just pretty much keeping it the same as we did. Okay, enter. That starts it. Now we're running. But now we just run this image capture. Let's drag it into the center where we can see it. Now it automatically gets to my phone, so it knows. It detects it, and it's unlocked already, so I just have to go and look at this and see which of the movies. Oh, I forgot to delete the old movies from the 22nd. I think that's what that is. But they've all been uploaded, but I don't need to import those. So I'm going to just import the two that I want to, right? And I've already created the directory to put them in. So I'm just going to say Shift Select. I could do Command Select, whatever. So I could select those two. These are the two. But wait a minute, there's only one movie there. So that's wrong. I don't want the 22nd, so I'm going to deselect that. I'm going to go back. There we go. I just want the 24th, and then I can say Select, Import to, first of all, Other. I want the bottom item that says Other. I can then select, sorry you're not seeing my face, but yeah, why am I showing this? You don't need to see that. But you probably, I think I should be showing your face. Yeah, so this would be better. So, yeah, I just showed you that the iPhone was plugged into the M1 Mac Mini, and that's how I'm importing, as well as that's how I was powering it too. That's all I wanted to show, I think. So I just try to hold this in my hand here. Yeah, I just try to hold that while I'm importing here, while I'm making a screen recording. So now it's ready. I can just select a new folder. Right, it's going to be on this drive. It's going to be on 137. That's the one we're making today with our screen recording. So we say choose that one, and that's the only file for August 24th. We say download. Don't download them all, just this one. So we just click on download, and it starts importing. Now that file in size, if we want to see how big it is, we simply, all we have to do is just drag the window wider, and it shows us 2.59 gigabytes. So it's a sizable file, isn't it? It's a sizable. Now let's get my face without so much bright light behind it, if we can, so you can see my face a little bit better. There we go. So I mean, it's the thing is, now this is about maybe 4 times, 5, maybe 8 times. I don't know how many times faster than the imports were on my older computer. It's definitely faster. I think it's probably at least 4 times faster, but I'm not sure because I haven't really been able to quantify the time. I haven't timed, I guess, a specific file. Eventually we can do that if we feel, well, we'll get a sense for the qualitative feel of it anyway. Whether we get the quantitative number, it's not as important. But the screen is recording, and it's taking some time, but it's been maybe how long? I don't know. I don't have a good sense of time when I'm on camera. Okay, it might have been a minute or 2. It's done. So now, if we look at our external drive, which, well, we can first of all close this image capture program. So we can now look at our, well, is that a movie file? What is that? That's a movie file. We can close that. Yeah. So because it was already saved, it allows us to close it without asking us to save. And here we are. We're back here. We've got this file called image.1989.mov, which is our new movie. If we double click it on our screen, drag it into our window, we can now play that. Okay. See? It's 22. And that's our 42-minute movie that we made. And it shows exactly what we did, or from the perspective of the iPhone. Somebody's already created something in the browser. There we go. So that's it. We did that. Now I'm done, and I need to upload okay. I can't yet. Well, now I need to stop this screen recording and stop this the iPad and I need to do the same thing I had to save both of those, importing this one using screen capture as well. And then I'll be done. So, and then I'll have to then I'll want to copy my device. Maybe I'll show you that too. But let me see how I can do this first. I've got to stop these recordings. So let's stop. Screen recording, stop. Good. Save, and then I'll say save as. It only says save. Okay. And it already has the time, so we just save it in the same directory where we are. And it shouldn't take long. It's done. It's amazingly fast. Now the other thing is this one, I'll stop it and then I'll import that. I'm not going to record that because then I'd have to import that one as well as this one, right? It just goes on and on. So I'll just do this one by itself, without recording it. It'll just be imported to the same place after I upload it to the or download it, whatever you want to call it, to the M1 Mac Mini. Okay, here we go. So I just had to press the power button on the Thunderbolt dock. It's a drive dock that holds 2 drives. But no, I just realized something. It's not right. I'll need to go and get the drive. And I'll turn this one off. Turn this, because the drive that I've got in there is for the operating system for the old iMac. This drive, okay. I've got it ejected. Eject this drive, and then I need to, good. This is the drive. It's lightweight, feather light. But this is the procedure that I have to do. I have to carry this drive out here because it was out there before transferring the files. This is the same procedure. I'm just bringing it. I bring it back. It's got its pins on the bottom, and they're on the side. We're on one side, and that side has to be tucked against this, the corner. This up against the corner, and to the back of the slot where I'm putting it, so that it will fit in this. There's a narrow slot. There are two drive slots. I carefully put it in. I turn it on with the on button, and then it sees the drive. Now when I come over here, we'll have an additional drive, which I could show right here. Let's see. Let's get another screen recording going here. It's complex. Okay, here we go. New screen recording. Okay. Do it. Let's do it. Okay, so what happened after I plugged that drive in, we now have something called, oh, wait a minute, it sees this. My iPhone, that's not what we're talking about. Oh, yeah. Is that the right one? What did I turn on? Okay, it doesn't see it. Wait a minute. Is it plugged in? Maybe it's not plugged in. That's plugged in. Oh, you know what? It's not plugged in because I have, or is it? Yes, it is. It's this cable. Well, this cable is plugged in. Okay, it's the Thunderbolt conversion. Let's see what that is. It's a very thin cable. That's the one. Okay, so that's unusual. It's not seeing that drive. Why is that? That is shocking. Wait a minute. No, I don't understand what happened. I need to close this iPhone location. I don't need to see that on here. Macintosh. Yeah, well, we'll unplug it and reconnect it, I guess, or something. Something's wrong. We have HDMI. Something is wrong. It's not seeing it. That's tight. I can't pull it out even. Okay, can I pull out this? Yes. Disconnect and reconnect. What happens? It worked yesterday. I know. I know the power's on. I can see it. It's telling me it's on. So there, something popped up. There it is. It popped up that time when I disempowered it, or I unpowered the slot using the button. You hold it down for several seconds on the OWC drive dock. It's a Thunderbolt dock, Thunderbolt 2. Hold it down for several seconds, and or 2 seconds, it goes off. Then I turn it on again, and now the drive appears. So hopefully that doesn't usually happen. I don't think it does. I think it's usually working fine. So here we have it. This is what I copied yesterday, was the photos, which is called 136, August 22nd. And I can see that I have all of my files from yesterday. And what I want to do now is copy my new files from the much faster drive, spit drive, as it looks like it's called, which is today's. And it's got a few screen recordings, and it has my iPad and my iPhone. Okay, so I'm just going to copy this whole directory with a right click and then copy. And then I'm gonna paste it to the much faster drive. Or, sorry, is it the much faster drive? No. This is the slower drive. Yeah, that was the fast drive. We're now going to paste it to the slower drive, which is perfectly fast enough for transferring files on the old computer. So we just go right click, paste, and there it is. It's going to paste it. It's copying to a slow, but look how fast it is. It's 4 gigabytes. It's doing it in a matter of a few seconds. So that's fast enough because it's being read from a very fast drive and written onto a fast enough drive. That's the thing. So now that's copied. So all of our work so far has been copied. But I want to save this screen recording, stop, and then I'll have to copy. I'll want to copy that. So we'll save that, save it, and then that will go once again the same location. I don't have to change anything, just save it. Right, and then when we saved it, we will want to copy that from this location, our faster drive. There's our new screen saving. It's called 11:25. Yeah, that was 5 minutes ago. That seems right. Well, we'll know if it tells us it already exists on the other location. Then we'll know. So we try to paste this. And there it is. It does it. So we now have our up-to-date system. The only thing to do now is to import this final iPhone video, and we're done. I feel fine. I don't know. My throat is just, it's my voice, not my throat. There's something funny about my voice right now. Probably, maybe a reaction to the food I eat, because I ate a lot of dairy products today. That could be it. Whatever it is, I'm going to hopefully continue to learn and share what I learn. So that's all for this video. Jehovah willing, and Ward Green saying love to all, and God bless you all, and until next time, praise Jesus and glorify Jehovah in the heights above, in Jesus' name, amen.